have you been reverse dieting? Want to know when to start the cut? Watch this.
Our next caller is Kelly from North Carolina.
Kelly, how's it going? How can we help you?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. I have been listening for about 5 months now. And in fact, my kids are tired of me always having you guys on, either on YouTube while I'm working out or in the car. So they've said you have to use iPod now. So, so they don't have to hear it too. But I just wanted to ask you some questions about reverse dieting. So I had been a chronic dieter most of my life. In my email, I mentioned a nickname I had as a kid. So I was an overweight kid. And so having a name that rhymes with belly is not fun. So about a year ago, I started to really gain a lot of weight. I got to the point that I was just doing so much cardio. I was eating about 1,100 to 1,200 calories a day. And just was like, I can't stop. I can't lower my calories and I can't increase my cardio anymore. So I kind of found out about the reverse dieting. I got hooked into you guys. I got the reverse dieting guide. And I had some initial weight gain, which I understood. Like, okay, the guide tells me that. You guys tell me that all the time. But now I've gotten to about 1,700-ish calories. And every time I try to increase beyond that, it's really hard because I'm like full and I have to eat like crappy food in order to try and get the calories in, or I immediately shoot up even more in weight. So I know I'm getting stronger. I got MAPS, the RGB, and I completed anabolic. I just finished the first week of performance and I know I'm getting stronger. But I am also finally being able to kind of monitor my body fat percentage, and it's starting to creep up. And so I'm like, okay, am I gaining more fat than muscle, same amount? Because I mean, I trust you guys. If you tell me like this is just part of the process, suck it up, that's fine. Or do I need to do kind of like mini cuts? Because I've also heard Adam say sometimes you do like a mini cut and then maybe you try and reverse further out of it.
Yeah. Kelly, so I'm reading your email. So you went from 1,100 calories to about 1,700 calories. And during that period of time, gained 3 pounds on the scale.
Also, what happened with the cardio? Were you doing a lot of cardio before and then not so much anymore? What does that look like?
Yeah. So per your recommendations that I've always heard in the reverse dieting, I stopped doing the cardio. I am doing about 1,200 to 1,500 12,000 to 15,000 steps a day.
Okay. So, but you only went up 3 pounds.
Yeah, I was gonna say, please commend her on what you've actually accomplished. A lot more than you probably think you have.
Is that
That's
true?
A lot of activity you cut out.
Is that true? You went up 3 pounds.
I went up. So I immediately went up 3 pounds. So like before I got to you guys, I had found reverse dieting first somewhere else, and as soon as I started reverse dieting, I dropped a few pounds, and then I added creatine and jumped up 3 pounds. And I was like, okay, that's the creatine. Cool. I went from carbs that were like 50% to carbs that were more like 30% with appropriate protein. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. But since then, I have slowly, like I continue to increase. So I'm about 10 pounds more total than I was, 8 to 10 pounds more than I was a year ago.
And also stronger.
And stronger.
Yeah, I think
stronger. Yeah, I'm definitely stronger, but like the clothes are starting to get a little tighter, you know, that sort of thing.
Well, okay. So first off, you gotta think about, look at where the clothes are tighter. If it's in your butt, in the upper thighs, then you're probably building some muscle, and you're stronger. So you're definitely building some muscle. The little bit of weight gain that you had when you reverse diet is nothing considering you went up 600 calories.
Yes.
And you got rid of cardio.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the deal, okay? I want you to get rid of your scale for a little while. I don't want you to weigh yourself anymore because it's going to mess with your head a little bit. You got to give yourself a little bit more time. And yes, gaining some body fat, a little bit of body fat, is part of the process. I'd like to see you get up to close to 2,000 calories and then cut from there. Now, one thing you said, though, is that you can't eat anymore. You feel like you're stuffing yourself. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If that's the case and you feel like, ooh, this is really tough, then it's okay to go on a mini cut. You can do a mini cut for 2 weeks or 3 weeks and then go back to—
Or even a week.
Yeah, or even a week. Now, here's what I want you to do, though, or to understand. Don't expect to lose any weight in your mini cut. People go into a mini cut thinking, oh, great, I'm going to see some weight loss. that may not happen. What we're looking for is your appetite to get reinvigorated so we could go back into the reverse diet. Okay. But because you dieted for so long, on and off, since you were a kid, the reverse diet process, meaning reverse dieting, maybe with some mini cuts, trying to build muscle this entire time, is going to take a little longer than you think. Because, there's some theories out there, but some people would say your CNS, your body's got a bit of a memory, and it's going to adapt in the negative very quickly as soon as you try and do a cut. So I would slowly work up towards getting up to about 2,000 calories before trying to do a longer than mini cut.
I want to ask a little bit more. I know you have the RGB bundle. I think I'm reading that you ran through anabolic already. Are you currently in performance? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I just finished the first week of phase 1. And even in that, it was amazing from what my starting strength in anabolic was to my first heavy week of performance was.
Oh,
so I'm already squatting more than my body weight. I can deadlift close to 1.5 of my body weight already.
Wow. Wait, hold on. Where did you go from when you first started squatting? Can you tell me how much weight you were squatting versus what you can squat now?
I wasn't completely naive to lifting weight, but most of it was like cardio lifting weight because it was like body pump.
Yeah.
So I had been lifting weights before. So I was about 120. I was squatting, and you guys are the ones who convinced me to actually go below parallel. So I'm below parallel. I'm the deepest I've ever been. I've got prime. I passed all the compass stuff, but I've been working on the ankle mobility. And so I can get super low with good control. It feels so good to be able to be at I squatted this week 160.
Wow. You got way deeper.
You gotta be building leg muscles. Just so you know, Kelly, if you were my client and you came into me saying this, I would shake you.
This is a big win.
I would shake you like this a little bit and say, you need to wake up. You're actually doing really fucking
You're moving
good.
in the right direction.
And keep in mind, you've gone up 600 calories. So even you're going to your body's going to hold a little bit more water than it's used to too. So even the little bit of what you might be seeing is like, oh, I feel like I'm putting on a little bit.
Yeah, 4 pounds of that is water.
Yeah, a lot of that's probably water weight. The fact that you are as strong as you are, you've increased your range of motion, you've cut your cardio out, we've up to 600 calories. I mean, you are fucking winning right now.
Hold on,
we're doing really well.
Let me put this in context, Kelly. You increased your calories by over 50%. So 600 calories is a lot for anybody to go up. But in context of the fact that you're eating 1,100 calories, doing tons of cardio, and you couldn't lose any weight, it was like that's where you were stuck at. You dropped the cardio and increase your calories by over 50%. That's phenomenal. You're not just moving in the right direction. You're flying.
Yeah, you're killing it. And the reason why I was asking more about the programming and stuff like that is, keep trusting the process, because I bet as you go through the different phases of performance and then aesthetic, you're going to hit a really novel one that's going to probably stimulate the appetite again. It's interesting when we
good point.
When we do things that are somewhat familiar for us, and then all of a sudden we hit something, it's like, oh my God, I've never done these movements, or boy, this is kicking my ass. And then all of a sudden you see that appetite spike up also. So, I mean, I'd probably be pushing you to stay the course. I think you're doing a great job. Doesn't mean that I wouldn't potentially interrupt 1 week of low calorie just for the mental part of it for you to be.
But don't weigh yourself.
Yeah, but I'm not tripping on the scale. What I see or what I'm hearing from you.
How long? Let me ask you this: how long have you been doing this? How long did it take you to go from 1,100 to now?
1 year, she said.
Is this a year process?
The reverse diet started in September.
Of September? Mm-hmm. Oh, you're not even okay.
Yeah.
Kelly, I'll tell you a story. I had a client who was really, really bad shape in the sense that her metabolism was just, in the context of slowing down, was just a wreck. Okay. It took us a year and a half. And here's what happened. That year and a half process, it was kind of like this. She gained a little bit, and then we were just kind of maintaining and slowly reversing and getting stronger and getting stronger. And then like a snowball, all of a sudden it was like she got ripped. Her body she just like, oh my God, this is crazy, Sal. I'm eating more and I'm just getting leaner. I don't know what's going on. I'm like, we have got things working.
Yeah.
So you got to have some, you started in September.
And you're on that path.
Yeah, give it some time.
Yeah, you're on that path.
I was hoping that you guys would just say like continue to trust the process, and I was just getting a little too ahead of myself.
There is nothing.
I would shake the shit out of you.
There's nothing that you said here. There's nothing that you said here
in a loving way.
That's how he got. Remember, you almost got fired.
Very loving way. Yeah.
Just shakes his clients. There's nothing you said at all that would make me pause. In fact, everything you're telling me is telling me that you're crushing. You're like on the right path. So stay on.
Do we have time for one more question?
Sure.
Let's hear it.
Okay. So I know you guys have talked about it in the past, the fact that, clinicians are out there giving advice on exercise and diet. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of great education on that. I'm a practicing neurology PA, and I'm very interested. I also happen to have a PhD in neuroscience. So I'm very interested in aging and cognition and how our hardware, our body helps the software in our mind. Mm-hmm. So where would I go to get good education? Because there's like the guidelines for 150 minutes of exercise.
Do you follow Andrew Huberman?
No.
Oh, he's good.
There you go.
Yeah, Andrew
you're
Huberman.
gonna love his content.
You know what else too, Kelly? If you think of so obviously you know this, like you know this better than I do. The brain is part of the body, right? So think of the hormones and the catecholamines and the all the compounds that affect brain health. And how muscle, body fat, and activity affect those compounds. So just a silly example would be like glucose metabolism, right? So that dementia and Alzheimer's, there seems to be somewhat of a correlation between those and almost like a glucose intolerance or issues, metabolizing glucose. Some people call it type 3 diabetes. Like the jury's still out on that, but we know that muscle greatly increases or improves insulin sensitivity. So, for example, knowing that, I would start there. So what you know about the brain and what makes it healthy and youthful, then go and find studies on exercise and muscle and body fat and how those things affect those particular compounds and chemicals. And then from there, I think you'll open up some rabbit holes to where you'll be able to go down and say, oh, okay, so BDNF, great for the brain. Wow, I just read that BDNF also has effects in muscle. Looks like when you build muscle, you increase BDNF in muscle tissue. Does that then increase BDNF in the brain? And you can it'll take you down some really cool rabbit holes.
Which I literally think that's like Andrew Huberman's podcast.
Yeah.
So if you haven't, what his podcast, is it called Andrew Huberman? Is that what it is? What is it?
I believe so. Or Huberman Lab.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. You'll geek out on his content for sure if that's what you're interested in.
Hubes puts great stuff out there.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much for answering my questions. I appreciate it.
You got
Have
it.
a great day.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye.
She's
kicking ass, dude.
Crushing.
Holy crap, she's kicking ass.
Bro,
Sometimes you just don't see it for yourself. Right?
I mean,
You need somebody else to kinda
again,
look
you
at
know
it.
what this highlights is what we always talk about is how much of this game is psychological.
Oh,
all of it.
How much of this
99.9.
Yeah,
I mean, she
Yeah.
said her clothes are feeling tighter. I bet you. I mean, how many times you get female
it's
clients?
muscle.
It's the butt, like, oh, my legs and my pants around here. And
Dude, for what she's talking about in terms of like her strength gains with her legs alone,
Yeah.
I guarantee a lot of it's there.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the amount of the weight that she has seen come on with the increase of 600-700 calories.
that's a 50% more increase in calories.
no,
that's
she's-
phenomenal. Had she done that without what she's doing now, in her old way with all the cardio and ever, that would have been like a 15-pound body fat gain, and no muscle gain.
Obviously, I think she was searching just for us to I think reconfirm what she was wanting.
Yeah, of course.
Which is good. If that was a client and I was really having a hard time,
you would just shake the shit out of her.
Like that. After
I would
that,
love to see that.
After if I shook you and you still weren't getting it through, I might run a 1 week cut actually to literally just lower the calories, lower the water, and let them see like you're actually way better than you think you are. That we just pulled some water out, and now you don't think you've put on body fat, and then that would also kick the appetite back up, and then we're back to the course, right? So I might do that if I felt like they were really.
But you'd have to be there monitoring.
Yeah,
My worry about that, that's why I told her not to weigh herself, is that she would do that and expect to see all this fat loss. And then be like,
it was
oh my
great.
God.
It was great advice. You're right. I mean, obviously, it's different when we can be talking to them every day versus not. But
Totally.
she's kicking ass.
Totally.